Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth. It feels like we're in the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy right now. Planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere east of the Mississippi. My name is Brian Engelman. That guy is Blake Walley. Today is Tuesday, December 12th, 2024. Happy heavenly birthday to my mother. This is the Agree to Disagree show on the new American media because the old American media has failed you. On today's program, we're going to ask if the J6 prisoners should reject a pardon from Trump. Try to unpack that one. What about Christopher Wray? Should he be prosecuted from Congress when he resigns? He's resigning. This is getting interesting. What about Kash Patel stepping in at the alphabet agencies? Should they disband the FBI in total? We're going to talk about that. Also, the drones in New Jersey. They're probably alien in origin, right? Right? I mean, look at these graphics. It's like we're in a supernova. I feel like we're in an episode of Doctor Who today. I'm here for it. I'm a fan of Doctor Who. Blake, did you get into?
I'm in the transporter room right now.
Yeah, it appears to be the transporter room. What is that called? What is that backdrop called?
I don't know.
You're in the transporter room. We'll go with that. Okay.
I've had it in my stack for a couple of years. I just haven't been able to pull it out. This is only the second time I've worn this shirt, just special occasions and stuff. So here we go.
Like pull up the thumbnail for today's show as well. Blake always wears interesting shirts, has interesting backdrops, and interesting thumbnails. Also on today's program, aside from Jones and aliens, we're going to ask if RFK Jr. should investigate the link between vaccines and autism, or are we foolish to say that there's some sort of a link? By the way, for countervailing views, please visit cisa.gov/rumor control regarding the election and WHO's website, who.int, and cdc.gov for all medical issues, and cdc.gov/vaccines, specifically regarding vaccine-related medical claims and political implications thereof. It's underneath, and I'm saying that under duress with a bullet aimed at my temple there. Social media wants to delete if you dare talk about the potentially obvious links between things. Oh my God, you must be banished to the netherworlds of outer space, launched, catapulted into a black hole of nothingness where none of your content is shareable. It's all downranked. Nothing is recommended. All the people that subscribe and have notifications set, they never see it. Nobody clicks in. No advertising dollars for you. Finito. These are third rail topics you're not allowed to talk about, but fuck that. That's why I started the new American media. Adults are supposed to have adult conversations where you keep things mostly civil. I can talk to you as an adult about flat earth or Sandy Hook or vaccines because I'm a fucking adult. And it doesn't mean I endorse this or that. What do I really know 100%? There's very few topics I can say I know 100% of everything. I lean certain ways. I have inclinations and I have beliefs based on the knowledge that I've seen so far. But I think rational people should be able to look at interesting topics from a lot of conversations and have conversations, oh my God, with people that we sometimes don't agree with. You had a person on your show that said such and such. And, well, I can't believe you're like that. Like what? He said such awful things. Did I? You had him on your show. That's very different from having and holding those same beliefs. You talk about everything. You can agree to disagree on a topic and move on. I don't need to change your conversation on the Middle East, World War III, Ukraine, the political system in our country, the history of racism in the globe. I don't need to change your opinion. If we hit an impasse, we say, let's agree to disagree and just move on. Whatever the topic is, whatever the angle. But adults are supposed to be able to talk about it. That's why we are here. That's why we put that GD disclaimer at the bottom of the screen.
Did you not take your Ritalin today, Brian? Okay.
Huh? What?
No.
What?
Did you not take your Ritalin? What's going on here?
Well, it got me thinking, just like yesterday. I think I did a 25-minute rant yesterday. It got me going, and I didn't realize I had such strong feelings on the subject. But regardless, there you go. We're going to talk about vaccines and autism, and is there any possibility that there's a potential slight, minuscule, remote chance that something involved with something in things or other things related to that, or things in the general environment, regardless, could be contributing to the massive uptick in autism? So we're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to ask if Lily Phillips should set the bar higher after having sex with 100 men. And Caitlin Clark should apologize. for racial pandering. All of these topics and more on today's episode of hold that thought to start the segment after this. The Agree to Disagree show. All right, Blake, you had a thought before we jump to that supercut commercial, by the way, that Blake does all these video editing things. If you're looking to do some projects, graphic design, video editing, hit him up. He's for hire. You know, it's a new economy these days. People with talents, you can just hit him up, pay him. That's how we got all the cool intros, the cool graphics that we have for our show, like this one. My good friend Ted Distal of Distal Design put that one together. What's that, Blake?
So that was not mine.
No. That was not Blake's. Do not expect him to render that from scratch. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's how things work. If you want to reach out to Blake, all of the information is listed in the text of today's show, whether you're watching on Rumble or X or YouTube, what have you. Blake, you were going to say something in the beginning, right before I played the intro.
I think you were saying Lily Phillips slept with 100 men, but as 100 men in a day, it's 101 specifically.
Okay, let's start there. Okay, I said this right off the bat. I go, forgive my ignorance. I don't know who the hell this is. I don't know who this person. I've never heard of this person, and it's in the stack, and we're talking about it. So let's jump right in, shall we? Agree or disagree that Lily Phillips should set the bar higher after having sex with 100 men in a day?
Well, I guess I'm going to say disagree. I was also not familiar with her until the other day when.
So the PR stunt worked, essentially, is what we're saying. We're talking about it.
See it?
No?
Did you went through Twitter all day yesterday and the day before and just never ran across this? Never? Okay. I would think that's would stand out a bit. I saw it from
we might have slightly differently curated algorithms based on.
Well, I'm sure you do, but this was still like a huge story, and it's it was also covered today by Paul Joseph Watson and so many other prominent people. Brian has the worst curated Twitter. You don't use lists at all, so you don't really. You're basically at the mercy of the algorithm on your. Your PG feed, I guess.
All right, so tell us about it. Do we want to just play Paul Joseph Watson? Get the first.
I don't know if he does a commentary on it, just on his website.
Oh, I thought because he always does great commentaries. Okay.
Yeah, he does a lot, but I don't know if he did one on this one, but maybe he did. I'm scrolling, but I don't see anything. Anywho, yes, it's an OnlyFans porn star, I guess.
Actress.
I don't even know. I don't know if she actually did porn or not. I don't, but she's on.
I woan, I would say she certainly
does her own amateur porn, and they should probably stick to this model anyway if they are going to do porn, regardless of your thoughts, because they can get ripped off pretty badly. I think I've seen stuff like that too. They get paid a few $100 and then whoever makes the video makes millions, or I don't know.
And by the way, Blake has lived in Las Vegas for a while, so he's seen a lot of
Vegas, Los Angeles. Well, no, there was a coincidentally, I was on I saw an InfoWars feed the other week. And I saw like a porn star on like being interviewed, and I'm like, oh my God, I think I know that girl. And it was, and she was, I don't know if she's still I don't think she's former. I think she still does her OnlyFans, but she's also like a smart lady, and she's kind of speaks out about kind of the dangers of the industry and says, discourages anybody from getting involved because only a small percentage of the girls actually make money doing that. I forgot her name. Her porn name, I think, is like Eva something. I forget what her other name was. I'd have to look it up, but because I wasn't prepared to talk about that.
Well, let me pull this up. Something I looked up. Like, just by the way, you mentioned InfoWars. I mean, what is your take on the latest here? And then we'll get back to this original story. But the Onion tried to buy it, but they didn't allow the highest bidder to be a part of the process. So now a judge has blocked the sale to the Onion. It's kind of, I don't know. Have you been following this in general? Like the story's kind of weird to me.
I have not told, but I know that happened. I remember when the Onion was going to buy it, we covered that because that was a big issue. It was like, oh my God, now they're going to turn it into a satire site and roast InfoWars indefinitely. But I guess it was halted. And I also I saw some clip from Alex saying that this was, it was like Michael Bloomberg was kind of behind with getting together with these Sandy Hook families and destroying his business.
Yeah, and they went after anybody who was supporting Trump. They went after the biggest names, the biggest gatherers of eyeballs and ears to really send a message. Yeah, but I guess part of this story is that there was another group, Robert Malone. I don't know. This might be his official account. 1.2 million followers. He says, good news. I just read that the judge rejected the sale of Alex Jones InfoWars to The Onion, who criticized the auction process as flawed. Now Elon can put in his own bid in support of Alex. But that's kind of the story that was coming around. I don't know if it was Elon in particular. It's likely, or at least it's possible, if not probable. But there was at least one backing entity that was trying to make the purchase. They would have outbid The Onion. They would have outbid the families. They would have outbid anybody, and they would have just put things back. But the judge was trying to work a way around that, and it's like that's the opposite of an auction. That's a predetermined fleecing and theft. So anyway, it's just an interesting sidebar to the story as we were talking about it. Deb from Sac saying, Blake's a man of the world. A very well Are you a traveling man, Blake? Are you a traveling man?
I guess so. I've been to most of the states in the country, probably 35 or so. I guess I traveled, not the whole world. I've only been to Canada for fishing and Mexico once for spring break. So much to go see still. So I'd love to go on a European trip one of these days. But anyway, side issue. Not quite.
And sorry, Deb, that you're saying YouTube is still not working for you. So you're saying that you're on the New American Media YouTube and you're still trying to leave a comment, but it's still not letting you. That is weird. Well, thanks for joining us on X. However you're following us, please hit like. Please hit subscribe. It's all appreciated on the Spotify podcast, the Agree to Disagree show, and of course, the New American Media. Blake's at thenextlevelnews.com, and on X, he's at TV's Blake Walley. Well, thanks for finding us on X, Deb from Sac. I think, did you see? I think we added Deb from Sac into the private Twitter group for the Agree to Disagree show. And you said I don't use groups, but that's a group, right? Or a list, or what do you call it? I don't know.
He's got a million groups. I don't know how you run all those things, but yeah, he does have one on Twitter. You're welcome to join.
Yeah, it's just a place where we can deliver you the show. Because, like I said, I mean, we have 6,500 subscribers with millions of views on YouTube over 13 years. And it's like YouTube doesn't show our content to our audience, so it's like we're trying to create delivery mechanisms on platforms that are that are encouraging the growth of our channel. YouTube is and Meta, Instagram, Facebook, they're actively trying to suppress the growth of our channel. So yeah, it's a private group for the Agree to Disagree show. Hit us up on X if you want to join so that we can drop the show every time that we launch one. Blake did a show yesterday. Blake, tell him about the show, and I'm curious if you got into the drone topic. We'll get into it more when we finish our first story, but any interesting intel from Toxically Masculine Tuesday yesterday? You did that show, and we encourage everyone to check Blake out on that show as well.
Yes, it was actually covered because we do have some experts in that field, specifically Mike Barra from Ancient Aliens and Dr. Brooks Agnew. So yeah, they know their stuff. Mike pointed out that the drones were kind of moving in these very straight lines, so he kind of doesn't really think that they're UFOs. And yeah, but it's still a mystery, and it's one of the big stories. Of course, it's the thumbnail as well. We'll get into it, and thought I'd get into the fun by wearing my UFO shirt that I bought at the Alien Festival in Spruce Pine, where I saw or hung out with Mike Barra and Dr. Brooks Agnew. They were the headline speakers for the event.
And that was a place that was ravaged by Hurricane Helene. So Go to Blake's channel or go to the New American Media and look up Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way. Blake shot and edited the whole thing and shot a lot of it. We went and got a tour through 3 different states and drop-off points and donations. It's a great documentary. We encourage you to check it out, share it, because the people in North Carolina are still struggling. And let me just mention that I will also be doing another show at 5 o'clock Eastern with Mike Barra from that conversation we were just having there with Blake. We covered last week in football, NFL mostly. We say strictly football, but it's like 90-something% football. Of course, we wander into other topics from time to time, but we'll be live at 5 o'clock going over last week and making our predictions, maybe some entertainment only and purpose. And what do they call it? Purpose entertainment only. For purposes of entertainment only, gambling picks, just for entertainment. We never offer financial or gambling.
Definitely don't want to take Brian's picks.
Oh, I'm doing better. Blake, how did you do the 1 week? Blake was in a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Blake, have you logged back in? Did you see what your record was that week? Have you been continuing to make your picks?
I did, but I mean, it counts every game that I did not pick as a 0, so my record looks terrible. On that particular week, I think, I don't know, 9-7 or whatever it was.
That's not bad.
It was like it wasn't that great, but sidetracks. But yeah, that'll be interesting. So glad you're doing better, Brian.
Doing a little bit better with my predictions, but that show's called Strictly Football. That'll be up at 5 o'clock. All right, Blake. You had InfoWars pulled up here. What's this one?
Yeah, well, that's the girl I was talking about. She's a prominent porn star. Her name is Eva Lovia. But I was scrolling through Twitter, I don't know, last week or something, and I saw that InfoWars. I was like, oh my God, maybe they brought back Leon McAdoo. And then on closer inspection, I was like, no, I know that girl. She's like, yeah, she's a adult film star. She is on OnlyFans. She's one of the top people on there. And but she's actually a really smart put together, and I don't know what her other name is, Candace Horvax, that's her real name, but yeah, she does other stuff, so she's actually pretty remarkable. Interesting to see her on that. This is her. I don't think they show anything graphic on these, so I don't know. Brian, is that someone you recognize?
I've heard that name.
Okay.
But not this Lily Phillips. Why
so
was
this is Lily Phillips? So I was not familiar. Also very pretty, but she decided to do a big publicity stunt by sleeping with 100 men in one day. So I'm kind of shocked that you didn't see this, Brian, on Twitter or anywhere, because this was a big story. OnlyFans girls breaks down in tears after sleeping with 100 men in a single day. So she thought that having sex with so many men would catapult her to viral fame, and it did briefly, and now she's counting the cost. And they made a documentary out of this. Slept with 100 men in one day, and then I guess the YouTuber almost vomits, and I think I would too. The sight of a bedroom littered with lube, used condoms, wrappers, and tissues after spending a nauseating 14 hours fornicating. God, could you imagine the smell?
Oh, Blake.
100 dudes like railing on this poor girl. But hey, she wanted it, so this was a thing. It was a social experiment. And here she is. So I'm shocked you didn't see this, but for you and anybody who hasn't, here it is. And it's not like glamorous. This is pretty sad.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic, like by the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're going to do this. And like, it just, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal sex at all.
Really? Not normal. Okay. I thought there was another one. Here's a quicker clip.
It's not for the weak, girls. If I'm honest, it was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it. I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like, it's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like.
It's kind of like being a prostitute. I don't even think they could do 100 in a day.
Explain how it's not.
Feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Like.
It's not like just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out. Like it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
I don't know, man. But now, so at one level, I feel sorry for her, and she seems like to have like remorse, almost like, oh God, what did I do? But here you go. But if you think she's learned anything about the revolting vacuousness of letting 100 men use her like a sex toy, think again. She now plans to try to sleep with 1,000 men in a single day. And in 24 hours, that's 41 an hour, or not far off, two every single minute. Oh my God.
Wow.
Brian, would you stand in line for that?
I'm kind of blown away. Like she fucks like the government, man. Wow. That's brutal. Oh God. I mean, welcome to 2024. I mean, you know, anything goes in general. It's kind of do as thou wilt, but do no harm. You know, libertarian ideals are just kind of like, I don't really care what consenting people get involved with too much. I don't care too much. I have had situations where an active customer-client relationship situation had been very negatively impacting places where I've lived. We'll just leave it blanket like that. Yeah, Blake, come on. She's trying to eat lunch over there. Come on. Bringing up the smell of 100 dudes. Yeah, I've played football before. I've been in a locker room. Yeah. But yeah, I'm generally in favor of just letting people do as they want to do. Now, it's like, well, what about trans? It's like anybody at 18 can do what they want if they pay for it. Leave the kids alone and don't ask other people to pay for whatever it is that you're into. Do the thing that you're into. Fine. But yeah, I mean, I think you used a good word earlier. Sad. A little sad.
Yeah, and I've seen there's a few of these OnlyFans girls. They do kind of do these publicity stunts to, you know, promote themselves, get viral content, and then people go and I know there was like a Trump supporter lady who was like flashing at events. I think she got kicked out, but she got fame for that. Oh, and also like I think she flashed at that portal they had between New York and Dublin.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Then there was another girl who like flashed in front of like ended up being like an undercover cop, so she got in trouble. But yeah, sometimes they do these stunts, and as Candace or Eva Lovia said, it's a tough industry. She doesn't recommend it because there's just so hard for most of them to actually make money. It's not what they think. They're getting over their head. And of course, the industry is dirty, but at least in OnlyFans, they can, if they control their own content, at least they can make money off of it. So, but
on average, I'd say they do much better than independent journalists.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just saying. All right, let's pause and pivot off of this story and go to another prominent female story. This one's about Caitlin Clark. All right, so I didn't anticipate these were going to be our top two stories with so much going on in the world. But all right, from one lady to another, Caitlin Clark has been widely hailed as a fairly great role model. Blake, would you agree with that? I don't know that I've ever heard anything terrible stick to Caitlin Clark so far. Am I fair? Is that fair?
Yeah, she's a nice girl.
One of the good ones.
What's that?
She's been one of the good ones.
Yeah, she certainly has. And, I don't know what to think of this. I think she was, obviously pressured on this. I just think of
like me putting countervailing views at the bottom of the screen.
What's that?
Pressured, like the pressure I feel to put countervailing views scrolling at the bottom of the scene about CDC.gov and.
We did that in the past. I don't know how much we need to do that going forward. Maybe they've kind of loosened their tyranny a bit now that Trump has won, but I'm not sure. When I think of Caitlin, this is one of those funny quotes from Antonio Brown when he was tweeting about Caitlin Clark. Okay, I don't know if I should play that or not, but all right.
I don't remember what he said.
He got blocked on Twitter for saying that. Said Caitlin Clark looks like she keep a hair. All right, we're not going there. But anyway, she's a wholesome, nice girl who played for Iowa, and she's like the greatest college basketball player.
Hang on, what did he say? She looks hairy.
She looks like the type of girl who keeps it hairy.
All right, well, you got to at least explain it like that. Now that you got us thinking about it, it's like you got to finish the story.
I thought I did enough to get everyone to figure out what he was saying, but I don't know. I wasn't prepared to go there either, but hey, whatever.
Well, Megyn Kelly, here's a strong, independent woman.
Right.
I mean, look, she's saying what a lot of people wish more strong female voices would step up and say. Stop with this crap, right?
Yeah, don't bow for this ridiculous latest outrage here for sad white privilege pandering. So we've seen it many times, the mindless reflexive recitation of woke catchism that has no basis in reality. So on Tuesday on X, conservative commentator Megyn Kelly excoriated Caitlin Clark of the WNBA for her sad decision to acknowledge her own white privilege as the biggest superstar in a league dominated by Black players.
Wow.
And here it is. After she was named Time's Athlete of the Year, Caitlin Clark apologizes for her white privilege, says the WNBA is built on Black players.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, she's a nice girl. I don't think she's political. She just wants to go and play her game. And she's in this weird situation, and she was bullied around in the WNBA. They did not like her, even though she brought in tons of ratings. They didn't like the attention.
Now compare that. Compare that to the golfers who, maybe told some jokes about Tiger Woods and gave him a little bit of grief. But they understood where the money was coming from, where the advertising dollars were coming from. They saw the boost, and everybody got paid more because Tiger Woods was in their sport and kicking ass. So these ladies being catty, I don't think, you know what? Go ahead. Tell me more about this, because I want to do a compare and contrast, because I just watched something earlier today that's the perfect way to handle this instead of apologizing. What is she apologizing for, Blake?
Nothing. I don't hold anything against her, because I don't think she seems like that type of girl. She seems like a sweet, innocent Midwestern girl who just wants to play basketball and be left alone. And then she's thrust into that spotlight. And she's, I don't think she's acting out on her own. So I don't really hold that much against her, but I mean, Megyn Kelly is, but I mean, yeah, we're sick of that, sick of the pandering.
And
but
you know what?
I don't know anything. I don't know much about her. I haven't sat there and, I'm listening to the Caitlin Clark interview. No, I've seen a few highlights. I've seen some of what she can do, but that's pretty much on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Or getting, taking the hard fouls or whatever.
But there's one way to handle, you're a rookie, you got your face plastered all over Time Magazine's the Athlete of the Year. Like, that's nothing to apologize over. But if you feel, I'm not built that way. I couldn't even fathom apologizing. But I watched this morning. I also host a show called the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. And I'm an Indians, Cavs, Browns, Buckeye fan from Cleveland originally. And one of the greatest voices in all of sports just got entered into the Hall of Fame. It's about damn time. And this was his reaction yesterday when he found out that he's going to be inducted into Cooperstown this summer. But if you feel as though you're standing on the shoulders of giants, you've heard that phrase before, like, someone gets an accolade in the NBA and you're like, look, there's so much greatness in this. Like, listen to Tom Hamilton. Just, this is the way you're going to do it. If you're going to do it, don't apologize for being who you were or who you are or who you're. Just, here's the difference.
Thank you. Well, whoever had under 15 seconds before he cries won. So
clearly touched, moved.
I'm sorry. I'm just I'm so humbled. I'm so grateful, and can't believe it happened because I certainly looked at that list of 10, and if you were to rank them, I would have put myself 10. That was an incredible list of Ford Frick nominees, and I was just so honored to be a part of that list. So many of them I know and consider friends, and all of them on that list I consider superior to me. So I'm just want to offer congratulations to those gentlemen as well. And again, I know how blessed I've been and how fortunate I was to get that call today, whether it was deserving or not. I'll take it. So
there you go. Whether it was deserving or not, I'll take it. He spent the first part just saying there were 10 people on that list, and I'd rank myself 10th. They're fantastic. Caitlin Clark could have said something like that. Like, I don't know why she's buying into this bullying stuff, this divisive Obama. And luckily now the Obama era, like, it all feels so antiquated and backward and just like dusty. Like, yeah, they've
how much do you know her? Do you know what she's like as a personality? Do you think she's going to be the type that is going to stand strong on her own on a political, philosophical issue, or is she just a jock? That's the thing. It's like, what is she really supposed to do in that situation? I don't know who she's getting her advice from. She's just trying to do her thing. Probably just wants to be left alone. She's not making a political statement. She's not Colin Kaepernick. She's not drawing attention to herself to, oh, look at me. Like, I'm taking me. So I don't know. But that's
just the whole concept of discussing something called white privilege. It's like, you're a human. Don't buy into that divisive stuff. Don't repeat it. Don't go there. If you want to say, look, there were amazing athletes in every sport. I'm 18 years old, 19 years old. Like, the best of the best are out there everywhere. I can't believe that you would pick me. And on top of it, out of the great players in this league, there are so many great players like such and such, previous MVPs, and the leader of this team and the MVP of the final. Like, she could have name dropped a couple and just said, I'm honored. But like this bringing up white privilege. What was the exact quote? What did she say?
She just said apologizes for white privilege. She says, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the NBA, in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has been kind of built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think that's very important. And I have to continue to try and change that.
I mean, you know, all right. I mean, what am I supposed to say on that? I mean, if she wants to, I remember when Baker Mayfield was doing those progressive commercials, and I think he started bringing in other personalities to the commercials. That's the way you do it. Caitlin Clark will be like, all right, I'll do a commercial, but I want to bring in 5 other people from the WNBA, and I want them to get paid a portion of the advertising budget too. You do that. That's all you got to do. And you don't never apologize for being who you are. Never apologize for your religion, from your skin color, the family you come from, the town you're from. Don't apologize. Don't apologize for stuff unless it's actionable things. And you go, I would like to say I'm sorry for the thing that occurred this time and my participation in it. I would love to have that chance to do over, and I would love to make a different decision personally. Like, you can say that, but you can't apologize for the culture and this and that. Like, Tiger Woods wasn't out there apologizing for all the great white players that built the game of golf. It's like, you hear how stupid that sounds. You hear,
I don't know.
That sounds the opposite. Right?
I don't know if she's that strong. Sorry, buddy. I don't know. I don't know her that well, so I don't want to expect her to go make a stand and whatever. So I don't.
It's not even about a stand. It's just.
Oh my God! All right. Well, anyway, great.
It's about avoiding the quicksand. Anyway, all right. That's all we want to say about that. Anything else, Blake?
I think that's enough. Yeah, I think that was even.
All right. Next topic.
Plenty of time on that one. All right.
Let's give a shout out and a hello to Kenneth. He made it. I believe he had a dentist appointment today. Congrats, good sir. Man, it's good to get your teeth taken care of. I know there was a little bit of time there where I was not on my regular 6-month routine. Did not enjoy it. I just went recently within the past month, and they did like an ultrasonic, I bought one of these power washers to clean my driveway, my house, the bricks, and all this stuff, like a real powered power washer. But like, they had a little version of that device to go through and really clean up, give a deep clean on your gums and stuff. I'm just very appreciative that our dentistry industry is so good. Welcome, Kenneth, and everybody else to the program. However you're watching, hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you're watching Blake on X. He's at TV's Blake Walley, and his archive is thenextlevelnews.com. And then, of course, check out the Agree to Disagree show in the New American Media in all of the locations. So, yeah, welcome back. And leave your comments is what I was getting at. Kenneth likes to comment on the show, and we like to encourage every one of you to join the conversation. And Tiger would if he could. Yeah, Tiger would if he could. Okay, Daniel is jumping in here a little early. We'll get to this in a moment. Bringing up vaccines and other things. We'll get to that in just a second. But the next topic we're going to cover.
Knock it out real quick. I don't know, because he's on it now. So I don't think, it meant to be kind of a quick story. So
let's just touch on it. Touch and go.
Yeah, this doesn't have to be a big story. I'm not going way into a rant. I just thought it was an interesting, but
it is interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let's check it out and see if I can find it.
Yes. All right. Let me pull up his comment then while we get it.
Yeah, pull up the comment. Here we go. And then I did find the article here. So let's let this rip. This is out of the Epic Times. As Trump says RFK Jr. will study a possible link between childhood vaccines and autism as his secretary. Because I think somebody has to find out, if you go back 25 years, you had very little autism. But now you have it. I'll just say there's a lot more of it than there was 20, 30 years ago. Certainly, the numbers have exploded. NIH supports and funds research into autism as well as potential new vaccines. And Kennedy said that he would like to revamp to focus on the causes of autism, autoimmune diseases, and neurodevelopment diseases instead of developing drugs and serving as an incubator for pharmaceutical products. Now, Daniel here is saying that there is no link between vaccines. How do you know that, though? It says none, zero. RFK's lying.
That is a bold claim right there to claim to know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how you can say that there's a lot of us, they say that. They have no idea how it's caused, but it's definitely not the vaccines. Like, really? Well, aren't they using thimerosal and some of these weird like adjuvants that they're putting in there, like it's like aluminum and who knows. I mean, I'm not knocking vaccines, but they give so many of these kids. I think they used to have like, half a dozen 30 years ago when I was a kid. And then now there's like, I don't know, 30, 40. They're insane. They keep pumping these kids full of, and there's the autism rates are skyrocketing. So why is it? I'm not saying it's direct, but I'm saying that you can't rule out that there is no connection. And they set up this whole VAERS thing back during the Reagan days. So you couldn't sue these pharmaceutical companies when there were reactions and when kids were getting, either injured or dying. That way they wouldn't put these places out of business for trying to do the right thing. In their mind, they're trying to prevent diseases. That's great, but there are potential side effects and dangers.
I just found it very, very odd. The way that the story was written, like it's news that RFK is going to study what could be causing autism rates to spike. Are you telling me that we haven't been studying what's causing autism rates to spike? These are American citizens that we want functioning at the highest level so that we can be the most productive, awesome versions of ourselves. Is it supposed to be shocking that RFK is looking and going, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? And discussing this potential link that a lot of people have discussed, a lot of people have questioned. And like you said, there are several that are probably in the realm of good or I can't even use the word safe. But they're, like you said, a handful that are like, okay. And then there's some others. What'd you say? How many others? 40? And everybody is
probably, it was 49, but I don't know. I've seen those graphics where they show like the amount of vaccines that they give kids these days versus what they did, say, in 1982 or something.
Kenneth is saying he, for one, thinks that there might be a link, and there might be.
Let's investigate. Let's find out. Let's rule it out. But that's the thing. I mean, what is this thing saying you have very little autism? Yeah.
Well, before we get to very little autism, Daniel is saying that Andrew Wakefield was being paid off to publish a lie. You mean like Fauci and everybody in government? I mean, okay, so like there's one study. That I don't think we're only talking about one study here. This is about the totality of an entire industry that nobody believes anymore.
Right. Well, so what makes Daniel Price the expert here from somebody like RFK, who's been in that industry for a long time?
He's not a doctor.
Well, I mean, what is his credentials here? How can you say that there's zero and none? That just doesn't sound like remotely scientific to me. You can't just rule anything out. And again, how can they even say that? They don't know where it's from, but the only thing they know that it's definitely not from is vaccines. That seems suspicious to me.
Well, Daniel's comment says it's a genetic disorder.
Right.
Okay, well, what can disrupt your genes? Anything that is invasively added to your ecosystem. So like that can modify, that can like people aren't even fully developed until they're 25. The brain is still connecting synapses and stuff. I mean, I've taken a cognitive neuroscience course and man, it was a lot, but I mean, we are developing deep into our 20s. So, I mean, to say that any number of chemical ingredients mixed into the ecosystem of the body, the point of introducing these is to make a drastic impact on how your body functions and how things are connected, how things are built and how they're put together. So I don't know how.
And who would pay off Wakefield? So you're saying the guy threw away his whole medical license and his career away so that he could get paid off by
who? Who has deep pockets to pay somebody to go, I think there's a problem here?
Yeah, you see the big
now conversely, who has deep pockets to pay people to say things like this? Oh, right. For billions and billions of dollars to get people, doctors sometimes, oftentimes, public officials, and people in comment sections of obscure podcasts, not obscure. The Agree to Disagree shows kick ass, but like people get paid to say this type of shit, whether it's true or not. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not claiming I know.
Right. Well, where were the autistic people in the 1960s, for example? This seems to be a relatively new phenomenon. As far as I can tell, you're telling me this is genetic? Like how many generations does this go through? I couldn't tell you, but I think they need to investigate. If they haven't found a link, then they should check wherever. What do you care whether he's going to study this or not? And then he's just, okay, what, you were wasting taxpayer dollars? Like what is the drawback if he tries to find a link and doesn't?
Daniel, who's not a regular contributor to my knowledge. Do you recognize Daniel?
No. Well, has he been on? I'm not sure.
Might have been.
Sure, it's nice to have new people. I like to have somebody come in and disagree. Sure, that's great. Like to have
Sorry, Blake, what were you saying?
I was say it's nice to get other perspectives. We don't have to all just sit in an echo chamber and agree with each other. I don't know. So why does it think RFK is lying and ignorant?
I was just going to add
his agenda for lying. What is the motive? Can you just tell me that? Who paid off Wakefield, and why would these people just make shit up to make things about the vaccine industry unless there's some way of capitalizing on it? I don't understand here.
Because it's usually follow the money. I was just going to add to that, Blake, and notice, Daniel Price, we're incorporating your questions and comments into the conversation in a mostly civil manner, mostly sort of. Extensive experience with autism, very close loved ones with autism, written grants to secure funding for autism, studied the genetic factors. Kennedy's full of shit. So what does cause autism? And do you agree with the data showing that the rates have gone up exponentially? They've gone hyperbolic. They have spiked off of the charts. Or are you saying that we've always had that level of autism? Because Blake, that's what you're hearing now. There's always, just give it a day, give it a couple days and wait to see what that video where it says like, they're talking about dangerous misinformation and everybody's reading off the same script.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's
give it a day or two.
Media or something like that. Yeah. They hand out talking points from above. Yeah, so regurgitate it. Right.
Give it a couple days and they're going to say, just wait till it pops up on MSNBC or some other rag. And they'll go, well, autism rates have always been this high. It's just that the testing mechanisms are better. Now, where did we hear that before? They were testing cans of Coca-Cola, carrots, water. It all had COVID because you're ramping up the measurement metrics and everything had COVID everywhere. And it was never designed, the PCR test, to identify that. So yeah, if you ramp it up, so they've taken that argument now and say, no, autism's always been high. We can just find it better because our microscope is better. We know how to look for it better. I'm sorry. If you work with autistic people, if you know them, if you're in regular contact with them, like I am, like Daniel is, you don't need to look harder. Autistic people are autistic. Now, there's a spectrum of autism. People say Jameis Winston has the fun kind of CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, brain bruises. He has the fun kind of CTE. Now you get the former tight end of the New England Patriots who goes around and kills people and then hangs himself in prison. That's the bad kind of chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Jameis is very friendly and outgoing and funny and goofy. But yeah, I mean, there's a spectrum, but it's not like we're only now discovering people with autism. It's obvious always when somebody has autism. So I don't know where this talking point came from. Nope, we're just testing better. We're just testing for it more. That's why the numbers appear to be up, which is misinformation or disinformation, by the way. Blake, does that feel weird to you that they're kind of rallying around that point? I don't know if you've seen that. I've seen it.
Well, yeah, I just know that it seems like it's pretty debilitating, and for people that on the spectrum that are the more severe cases, and you would think we would have some kind of record of some of that from back in the day. And I don't know if there is any. I don't claim to be an expert on all this. I know people have Asperger's, and they seem to have, you could say Elon Musk has a little bit of that. There's a lot of people that kind of, say that. So that might be one of the little side effects. And there's, yes, people all over that particular spectrum, but why are the rates so much higher now? And it seems, the one thing, I mean, there's plenty of environmental factors or things with, in our nutrition, our diets, what have you. But one of those major things seems to be the vaccine, which is always what people have been looking at. And Dr. Wakefield, maybe he is full of shit. I don't know. But I have a hard time believing that somebody would just ruin their career like that. And I've heard him do interviews. It sounds legit, but what do I know? I'm not a medical expert. So I will assume Daniel Price knows a lot more about this stuff. I just don't know how you can possibly tell me that you can just completely rule out the vaccines when you're pumping so many of those into little kids' arms, and they have some funky ingredients. These aren't, inoculations like when they got rid of smallpox. Like they have, aluminum or thimerosal or mercury compounds. I don't know how that's going to affect the human brain or the body.
By the way, how many videos must we watch of grieving parents who say that they went in, something was administered, and their child instantly changed and they've never been back?
Yeah.
Every one of these stories is completely fraudulent. To what gain? Who benefits there? By somebody, by just changing their child into somebody that needs professional care the rest of their life instead of somebody who can handle all of the tasks. I mean, let's look into it. Let's look into it. And I'm glad someone like RFK Jr. is in there looking and asking.
There's nothing to worry about. Yeah, maybe they can finally rule it out for good, and we can find the real cause. I don't see what the issue is.
If it turns out that green beans are the cause of it, hey, I am all about waging a full-on frontal assault in a war against green beans. But if it's not, I mean, we got to be willing to go where the information takes us. And there's a lot of people who make their claims. My son was full of life and he played and we read and we talked, went into the doctor, came back nonverbal from then on out. Okay. Yeah. That doesn't sound like something that happened in the womb as a zygote. That sounds like something that literally happened during that 24-hour stretch. That's not what I'm saying. That's what some lady's saying, crying that their kid's gone.
Right. And we've also said, like, there's no, like, Amish, like, they don't take the vaccines and there's no autism there. So is there an autistic, are there non-vaccinated kids that have autism? That's another thing. So if it's totally genetic, Daniel Price, let me ask you that. Brian, just stop. Can we just answer that question, please? Are there people that have never been vaccinated that have autism? If it's purely genetic, I would like to see that info. I'd like to see it. So don't say the damn myth started with Wakefield. He didn't create autism. They're looking for a link, and they say the kids are getting these 6 shots back in the 1980s, and now they're getting 40. Why? And then all of a sudden the autism rates are spiked. It's easy to make that connection. So don't tell me that there's nothing there. It just came about. It's a new phenomenon. It's not. And I don't know if this applies to all the other countries either, that you're seeing these spikes. So I don't know. I don't know who Daniel Price is. Probably a nice person. I don't know, but I don't know how you can make these claims like all of a sudden you're the expert and RFK is just full of shit. Wakefield's just out to make money.
They said the same thing about ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine so that they could protect their emergency use authorization to push the jab on everybody in the past 4 years. It's that was incorrect, and it was known to be incorrect the whole time. But if there was a therapeutic that offered some sort of assistance, that had to be demonized. And so, yeah, this whole trust me, I don't trust anybody. That was one of the earlier comments. Trust me, I know all this. I don't trust anyone. And that's what Donald Trump said about, they asked, do you trust Benjamin Netanyahu? He goes, I don't trust anyone. That's good Trump, right? I wanted to reference the second part of what Daniel said there. Oh, my child changed completely in a day. Nonsense by suit-happy, litigious people. You're telling me every single person that had their child in daycare, that had healthy doctor's visits, reports with their general practitioner, with their primary care physician, that the child had light in his eyes, responded well to this, was talkative and playful, and then they suddenly weren't. You're saying You're saying that every single one of those is what? That's a psyop by big not pharma's zero budget to what? Who's behind this phenomenon? Help me understand that claim. So every single, okay, so that's never happened. Then I'm very interested to see some supporting articles. Daniel, if you could tag us on X at American_media_. Blake wants to know if any Amish who have been unvaccinated have ever had autism. I don't know.
Anybody non-vaccinated,
anybody non-vaccinated has been diagnosed with autism. And I did the air quotes that, sometimes things are labeled one thing, but it could actually fall into a different category of classifications. And yeah, I would like to see a report that says not a single child whose parents claim they came back as a different child. Like, what metric do you use to make a blanket sweeping statement to say, oh, by the way, I don't know if that's 7 families, 7,000, 7 million. I have no idea what number we're talking about. But how would you be able to quantify saying all of those parents who are tears streaming down their face that they're all lying? How could you possibly quantify and measure that? I don't understand how you could even reach such a staunch conclusion on such a topic. It's almost unknowable. So the closest thing to that, post a link and tag us on X at American_media.
Read the Lancet study, then you'll see how foolish you are, Brian, because they would never lie to you. They would never mislead you. Big pharma or the medical industry would never protect its own from the barrage of lawsuits. Could you imagine the shit show that's going to be if they can prove a link? I mean, I don't want to necessarily see the vaccine industry completely go out of business. I mean, there's some things that are probably helpful. I'm not dissing the whole thing, but a lot of it is, is to make money. And there were so many issues with this COVID stuff and all of the cover-ups going on that, this medical industry isn't, infallible. They've had a number of problems. So there's plenty of things to criticize there. They don't have they're just not as legitimate as they used to be, unfortunately.
And by the way, I'm trying to type in the Lancet report to talk about how they blatantly lied about so much during COVID, but I unfortunately had Google browser on, so they were giving me all their propaganda posts. But yeah, when you type Lancet, I laugh because they're known propagandists. Like they have put out some of the worst shit imaginable during the COVID response. I know it's just a journal, and it's almost like saying a platform is not good or bad. It's just a neutral medium. But no, I mean, Lancet was definitely involved with propagandizing people for sure. Dina is saying a parent knows the drastic change. Believe them. Now, I even doubt the safety of all vaccines. So, it's interesting to look at. And if something has gone up and another thing has gone up over the roughly the same amount of time, then you got to look into that. Look into seed oils and obesity, cholesterol. Come on. They're saying Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes. Like, we heard for so many years, fat's bad. Fat is bad. Well, fat is kind of like the grease in the wheels that keeps your brain sharp. When it starts drying out, your brain starts drying out, and Alzheimer's went through the roof. Yes, aluminum and this and that. There could be 10 things connected. There could be partial links to 100 things. But nobody's really doing the work to tell us that because everybody's getting fucking paid off. Now, I'm not saying you're getting paid off, Daniel. But I'm saying Big Pharma has the money to pay people. Anytime something pops in a live stream, somebody's got to jump into that YouTube group and make the same blanket comments, reading off the same script, off the same MSNBC people who've been lying to us for 20 years, or at least 16 years, or however long since Obama switched the Smith-Mundt Act and it became pure propaganda.
Yeah, Daniel, I appreciate the comments. But you're going to say here, you don't use Twitter and never have, but it's a cesspool. Oh, kind of like what you're saying is that vaccines can't cause autism. There's nothing. Oh, okay. I don't know, man. I kind of question.
That's a huge flashing red flag. I've never been to a bathhouse with Barry, but man, is it sweaty in there? And they serve tea in the lobby. Really nice iced tea with lemon infusion, kind of like mixed with the ice. But I mean, I've never been in there, but I'm just saying, like, that's how would I know that? Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, Twitter's where people are free to talk. And if you think freedom of speech is a cesspool, I don't know. I'm questioning the validity of the intentions, because it's just, that's like one of the only places where people are allowed to talk. If Twitter's a cesspool, how did you find us today? You're on YouTube. Is YouTube not a cesspool? It's just a matter of what you choose to search. Blake searches out 100-person gangbangs. I search out medical advancements in robot dogs. You know, it just depends. You get the algorithm you're looking for. And anyway, you know, but we appreciate you jumping in and discussing the topic with us, because we're not doctors and we don't have the answers, but we're going to look around. Okay, next topic.
It's delightful.
All right, Blake, I believe I cut you off. You're saying it's been delightful.
It's been a delightful discussion, but yes, we must move on. And you got your other show coming up in 30 minutes, right, Brian?
Absolutely. So, you know, we'll do 5 or less on these remaining topics, and we will get into it. Blake, agree or disagree that the January 6th prisoners should reject pardons from Trump? What a weird question. No.
Maybe. Yeah. Let me pull this one up.
Reject a pardon? Who would reject a pardon and why? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I usually wait for you to get into it, but like, what are we even talking about?
We are talking about the Merrick Garland here, the current attorney general, are going full hypocrite after the Hunter Biden pardon, threatening January 6th political prisoners if they accept pardons for Donald Trump.
Threatening? What'd he say?
All right. So Merrick Garland-led DOJ is in full panic mode after Trump announced his plans to issue pardons to the political prisoners on his first day in office. But then Merrick Garland saying, trying to salvage the legacy of its most sweeping criminal probe in American history, current DOJ has resorted to intimidation and threats, telling January 6 prisoners that accepting a pardon would amount to a, quote, confession of guilt. So they're saying, yeah, the irony is laughable, especially since the DOJ's own history of pardoning actual international criminals, most notably Hunter Biden, who enjoyed a sweeping pardon from his daddy. So, yeah, that's what's going on. So it's the hypocrisy. As we're saying, you know, it's an admission of guilt if you're trying to like preemptively pardon these people. It's like, why would you do that unless they're guilty of something? But these people, a lot of these guys still haven't been charged with anything. They're political prisoners. And so Merrick Garland, yes, they are. Yeah, I can understand why they're panicking, because their political prisoners are going to get released and make them look bad. Because they had no reason to keep most of them in the first place. So now they're just trying to say, oh, but that's going to make you guilty. Well, aren't you admitting that they're already guilty even though they're not charged and they're rotting away in a gulag?
And let me just mention this. This is right around the same timeline, Blake, that this is announced. So Biden has announced clemency for around 1,500 people. 1,500 people, Blake. This is according to CNN Breaking News. 63.7. Okay, appears to be the real account. That's roughly the number of J6ers. Almost like you're going to take your people back? Well, here's what we're going to do. So if I'm reading this right, this 1,500 people includes pardons for 39 convicted of nonviolent crimes. So Miss G says, let this sink in. Out of 1,500 people receiving clemency from Biden, only 39 who received pardons were convicted for non-violent crimes. So that means the remaining 1,461 are violent crimes. Blake, I mean, oh, there we go. Daniel, now we're back to the ad hominem attacks. Perfect. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Blake, read this one. You brought up Daniel again.
So if you two assholes could stop perpetuating lies and shilling medical misinformation, that would be fan-fucking-tastic.
By the way, what lie was presented? Because we're just asking questions. We haven't given a definitive answer on a single goddamn topic, you fucking prick. Not a single one.
Right.
You're open to asking the questions and revealing the data and looking at this differently, because we've been lied to from the medical teams, the medical establishments, the healthcare industry, by the politicians. All you got to do is look back to COVID. We were lied to about everything. All we've done is said we want to investigate a whole hell of a lot of these accusations. That's all we said. You're the one coming in here claiming to know everything like you're Jesus Christ. You ain't, pal. You ain't. So, you know, it'd be fucking fantastic if you would shut up and go away. All right, let's take him off the screen and continue about this topic, Blake. Biden is taking 1,500 people, violent people, letting them loose. Trump is saying he's going to let these mostly nonviolent people out. You know, it's almost tit for tat. It seems very suspicious that they're doing this. Maybe it's coincidental. Maybe it's not. But it kind of feels intentional, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd have to take a look at the list, so I'd have to break that open. But I did see that. I don't know. I'd like to think that there's a method to this, and that there are a lot of people that are in jail that shouldn't be. And I'm okay with that, pardoning, clemency, or what have you. But if they're, I don't know. It should be a case by case. I don't trust Biden to make these decisions because I don't actually think has much to do with day-to-day operations. So I'm wondering who's actually selecting these people, and he's just putting his name on it. He's just
that's come on, we all know that Trump gets Time Man of the Year. I mean, we could have made that the top story, just kind of reflecting on what President Trump has been through. Becomes Times Man of the Year today. He opens up the stock market, ringing the bell. He's like on top of the world. He's back. He's effectively our acting president right now. No, Biden's out to lunch. He's not making any of these decisions. He doesn't even know how to put his depends on front side or backwise. This was a story about what I referenced a moment ago.
You're very welcome. All right, Father, to another Fox News alert. Breaking right now, President Biden announcing clemency for nearly 1,500 Americans. Those individuals were placed on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic. Biden will also pardon
Home confinement
individuals convicted of non-violent crimes. The White House saying this represents individuals convicted of non-violent
what was that for that? Hold on.
Biden will also pardon 39 individuals convicted of non-violent crimes. The White House saying this represents the largest single-day grant of clemency in modern history.
That's the largest granting of clemency in modern history.
Wow.
And yeah, and once again, they use the same verbiage. Out of the 1,500, 39 were nonviolent, meaning the others were violent. These are the people that are getting tossed back into general population to terrorize the residents of your city. Dina Rona is saying,
Dana Price is calling for violence. He wants to beat us and knock us the fuck out, knock the smug ass tone out of your voice.
Wow.
We're pushing bullshit myths. All right, there you go. Well, okay.
Screenshot taken.
Ad hominem and violence. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Claiming to have all the answers. Right. Sorry.
And by the way, to the guy calling us a dickhead and a prick and now threatening violence, little punk. Look at this. RFK Jr. should investigate a link with vaccines and autism. Yeah. What assertion is being made in that RFK is going to be investigating if there's a link with vaccines and autism? So you're out of your mind, pal. We're not pushing a single thing. You are coming in here pushing certainty on all sorts of shit that is literally unknowable. And then you have resorted to first the ad hominem attacks, which were met in kind, and then the violent physical threat, which has been screenshotted and will be reported. So enjoy your day. No, seriously, since you're so concerned about being lied to, go listen to Woodward tapes. What, like Bob? What? Holy fuck. Is he bringing up, does he mean Bob Woodward?
I don't, yeah, who's like a CIA asset, right? If that's the same guy. Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Woodward and Bernstein, more serious than Watergate people. Yeah, there's a source.
Seriousness of COVID that came out of that lab and they lied about it and said it came from the wet market. There's so many lies about the origin of all of that COVID stuff.
Yeah, Daniel, I think you know what I think the pussy part is when people can't use their words and they resort to threats and violence. None of that was done except by you, pal. So you can kindly see yourself the fuck away. We like having people here that are willing to have a conversation. You can go. Anyway, Blake, let's move on to the next topic because we do have to wrap this up. Which one do we have next? J6 prisoners. Anything more on J6 and pardons?
No, it's hilarious, but yes, they should absolutely take their pardons, and they should be going after the people that put them in there. There's no call for that.
Yeah, Kinzinger and Pelosi and Schumer and Kinzinger, they all perpetrated a fraud on America. And there's legitimate political capital, political prisoners who have been caught in the crosshairs. Oh, yeah. There's a lot that's about to come out, and we're grabbing the popcorn. Next topic. All right, Blake, agree or disagree that Christopher Wray should be persecuted by Congress? Christopher Wray, he's being persecuted. That's a nice phraseology there.
Yeah, well, he's been persecuting a number of people, so maybe it's time to take a look at him. I know there's a few different articles. There's a good riddance, Christopher Wray. Dragging the Bureau into the fray seemed to be Wray's operating order. Look what they did. Okay. Oh, yeah, here's all the different things that he was in charge, guilty of. We'll go over that list. We do have Jim Jordan cheering Wray's resignation, but says he's not done probing his FBI tenure. We've got Wray resigns in disgrace after using FBI to persecute his enemies and protect lawbreakers. Also, yes, Gateway Pundit saying we'd like to schedule our exit interview with you now. Lots of different questions. So I'm going to go back to that first one, all of the different reasons why we're happy to see Wray go. Number one was the Mar-a-Lago raid. Of course, he went after Donald Trump, political operation. That could have been really devastating if there could have been a firefight involved in that over some documents that were there that they weren't trying to hold necessarily. They called it mishandling, and then they made a big spectacle of it. Number two, the FBI refusing to open the attempted assassin's phone. Let's take a look. This is for Pennsylvania. We still don't know much about that assassin. They pretty much buried that story, and they got rid of the body. Like they don't want us looking at that stuff. But certainly somebody knows something. The J6 crackdown, of course, nationwide hunt to find any participants in the Capitol riot, even shaking down 71-year-old grandmothers. You have the Whitmer plot, governor of Michigan, and that was heavily, it was a bunch of FBI people basically entrapping some wackos to blame it on the militia, demonize militias for nationwide. You have the arrest of a dissident reporter, Steve Baker from Blaze Media, arrested by the FBI. They believe Baker would post them on social media, reporting on demonstrations surrounding the January 6th riots. You've got obfuscating Russiagate. Got the infiltration of Catholic parishes, targeting parents for domestic terrorism, these school board meetings, prosecuting pro-life Christians. Taking a vacation. Yeah, he was supposed to be at a hearing. I remember that, and then he didn't show up because he didn't want to get grilled. So he just had one of his lackeys show up. And of course, the Hunter Biden laptop cover-up. And he's doesn't really do much when he testifies. So yeah, it's time to bring him up and shake him down. And we'll see what happens when Kash Patel takes over.
Yeah. I couldn't be more excited to see a change in leadership there. Like I said this on our last show on Tuesday, if the deep state were involved in doing whatever they're doing geopolitically, but they're making the purchase power of our dollars go very far and we can get by, it's easy. Things are very affordable. We got nice safety nets. We have relative safety and, clean cities, healthy food. Like we're doing okay. I mean, who would care? Who would legitimately be super concerned about all the horrific stuff happening around the globe? Their mistake was trying to treat us like trash while they're doing all the terrible stuff around the globe. And you go, oh, so the people who are in charge are awful. They all got to go. So now they all got to go. And Wray is getting wrapped up in that. He's one of the first to get out of there. So super excited to see Wray leaving. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Two more. Let's talk about Kash Patel. Should he completely disband the FBI? Agree or disagree? Kash should completely disband the FBI.
This is a tough one. I'm going to disagree. I think they could maybe salvage something. Maybe they'll have to create a new agency kind of based on the FBI and see if they can weed out, the good people from all of the ones that have been corrupted. So I'd like to think that it has a function at some level, but I mean, it's always been corrupt, or it seems like it has been. It's had J. Edgar Hoover, you've had, Comey, and of course, Christopher. Bad people running it. It has been abused and used for the wrong reasons. And but is there a need for something like that, an agency to kind of collect data federally? So it seems like you want to think like a lot of these people are good guys, and maybe at least half, maybe 75% of them are. I certainly think a lot of the leadership is compromised, and they have to go. And there just needs to be a house cleaning. So I don't know, Brian, what do you think? I guess I was looking at Steve Bannon here, who is calling for the complete disbanding of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I don't know, but would we think we should replace it with something? But maybe that's in the intent of, if the FBI are the good guys, again, is there an agency of those good, like Boy Scout types, smart, incorruptible, and they go after bad guys?
Well, there needs to be legitimate leadership, and there have to be checks and balances, and has to be. And look, they're a lying agency. That's what they do. It's a spy agency. FBI, oh no, we're the law enforcement. It's like, I don't know. Kind of feels like you're involved with setting a lot of people up and snuffing a lot of people out. It's hard to tell where the FBI ends and the CIA begins. It's hard to tell a lot of that stuff. So, look, when Elon took over Twitter, X, he unplugged every cable in the rat's nest. There were cables wrapped, twisted together, tied up. Rats chewed through some of them. Two things plugged into splitters. He just took everything out and went, all right, let's rebuild this. That's what needs to happen in government right now. Yeah, look at that one. We shared that earlier, but let me go full screen that. Read that one for me.
Let's get back to it. Yeah, Zuckerberg is donating $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund. After the turbulent history of threats and suspensions, Meta's Zuckerberg is courting Trump. Beyond the $1 million inaugural donation, he's given the president-elect private demos of the Meta smart glasses and hosted strategy sessions with incoming White House officials at Mar-a-Lago. Even Jeff Bezos has come around. A lot of people in tech, Silicon Valley, big players are adjusting their stance and trying to mend fences. So maybe Zuckerberg is not that bad of a guy, and he was just manipulated by the people in the deep state. And a lot of it was FBI. And you think he had like that guy Elvis Chan. Like there were people like embedded in Facebook that were suppressing information. And, saying like, don't show the Hunter Biden stuff, take that down, because that was politically embarrassing, but they were calling it Russian disinformation, but it wasn't.
Hey, speaking of disinformation, let me make one final point here. Let me type the message here. So speaking about that, let me just make one final comment on this. As we mentioned it. Daniel, his final parting words before Blake bans him off.
Oh, sorry, I messed up. I didn't know you were doing that.
It's all right.
Okay.
Before Blake bans him off his channel, please. Brian, quit being a passive-aggressive little bitch with sand in your mangina. because someone called you out for putting a lie in your description. In the future, keep autism out your mouth. By the way, the description of this show, as we're talking about people embedded who are just trolls from the deep state, here's the title of today's show. Jersey UFOs, J6 pardons, Wray resigns, and white privilege for Caitlin Clark. What fucking title are you talking about, dude? Really, go away. And Blake, I'm not kidding. Ban this guy.
It was just a small thing, right?
I don't ever want to see him around again. Just click the ban button on your thing and let him come around.
I've never banned anybody. You think that he's worthy of being my
100%. Violent threats can go fuck themselves. They can go fuck themselves, and I've built a digital dossier, and I'll go ahead and send something out with that, by the way, because, you know, it's fine. We're just going to leave a paper trail because people like you can be easily tracked down. And, you know, threatening to keep autism out your mouth. Yeah, it wasn't even in the title, so you're full of it. And once again, the question is if you agree or disagree with RFK Jr. investigating a link with vaccines and autism. There's no definitive statement there, dude. You don't know how to comprehend, yet you're a clinical master of all things medical, and we're supposed to just trust you. Nice.
I'm wondering how he found it. Maybe he's been lurking for a while.
Yeah, I wonder.
Right, because that was just a side issue. That was one of the last issues of the day. It was supposed to be, you know, UFOs, the J6, the FBI stuff, and then at the end we would talk about a few things. And one of them was just a quick note. I actually just meant to spend like maybe a few minutes on the RFK autism thing, which I thought was interesting, but just came out of nowhere. And not finding us on Twitter, somehow finding us on YouTube, which I really don't get much reach or help from YouTube. Not in the title, but was there right in the beginning. Must have been for something else, or maybe like the thumbnail. I'm not really sure.
Well, yeah, the thumbnail that has nothing to do with vaccines or autism, by the way. But yeah, Daniel is threatening to meet face to face and knock us the fuck out to get that smug ass tone out of our voice for pushing bullshit myths about autism in your title, dickhead. And I've shown you there is no title that pushed any lies or myths. This guy is an unhinged nut job.
Oh, he just joined like 2 months ago. I just went to his
to Daniel Price.
Yeah, he's on YouTube. He just joined October 17th. It's not even 2 months ago.
Make sure click report user, please. Yeah, we definitely do that here. You can go, Blake. Click.
All right. Well, I'll do it off air. We only got like 5 minutes left, and we still have our.
I found the. Here we go. Here's what he claimed. He claimed, "I'm not saying you were being paid off. Yet you've accused me multiple times of being a paid shill. And I was doing a search on autism, and this load of bullshit came up." What load of bullshit? We discussed RFK Jr., who's not us, who's going to be researching what is causing autism.
Yeah.
Where did we have an opinion on this? We didn't. We actually do have a lot of opinions, but we've never presented a single one of them with any certainty. You come in here lying about what's in the title because you're fucking full of shit. So, I mean, look, this is what FBI see. They have plants. They have sock puppet accounts. They have bots. And maybe this guy's just lost. Maybe he was just doing a search, and somehow this is the most shadow banned channel, the New American Media, and the most shadow banned show, the Agree to Disagree show on YouTube, suddenly starts recommending to people doing unrelated searches to maybe our fifth most relevant topic, most important topic of the day. Then they say, you would love this show. Person who just started your YouTube account 2 months ago, and he's never been on Twitter because that's a cesspool. Get the fuck out of here. None of that adds up. Well, anyway, we're reporting after the fact. Let's get to the final topic about UFOs, Blake.
So,
I mean, look, we're willing to engage with people. We don't accept threats. We don't do that.
Unless you're like the Krasensteins, right? Because they're like 5'2". I think we could manhandle them.
Didn't we? Weren't we going to do a charity boxing match?
We did. But we didn't know they were like 5'2". Like little.
Are they really 5'2"?
Yeah. Oh, dude, have you seen that picture with them and RFK Jr.? Had a photo up?
No, I don't know.
Oh, dude, we gotta get that. I know we only got a limited amount of time. I gotta find that.
I couldn't pick him out of a lineup for $100. I don't.
What? I know you because you wanted to like. You were not a fan. Oh, nobody's a fan.
No, I don't know what they look like. And I've never threatened them
No,
like
we're not threatened, but we were talking.
so threatening physical harm to us. I've never said that to him. Now I've called treason charges on people that have violated their oath of office. That's something in a military tribunal and a court of law to figure out. That's after a full jury trial. And we said the same thing about the execution of the healthcare CEO. Vigilante shit is bullshit. Have your day in court and pay the price after, a fair and impartial jury, unlike what they tried to frame Trump with all year. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. No, we were joking, I think, when Elon was going to fight Zuckerberg, and we were talking about the undercard to fight the Krasenstein brothers.
All in good fun and all for charity or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But then I found out they were like 5'2", and I was like,
okay.
Anyway,
final topic here, Blake.
What's that?
Final topic. Let's talk about these UFOs. Agree or disagree that the drones...
Wait, hold on. Here we go. Real quick. There they are. Look like the trapeze artists or something.
They look like horse jockeys.
That would be bad. Like, what if we did fight them and they kicked our ass and be like, oh my God, we never hear the end of it.
I mean, they look
and everything to lose, because if you beat them up, they'd be like, well, so what? They were like 5'2" and 110 pounds. But then if you lost, could you imagine that? Like, oh my God, you got your ass kicked by a 5'2". Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
For reference, RFK is 6'1". RFK is 6'1". All
right. I want to say they're like, they're 5'3" or something. They've been on like the Tim Pool show. Like, they're little guys.
All right. Now back to the drone story in New Jersey.
Humans, but yeah.
All right. Now back. Agree or disagree that the drones in New Jersey are origin?
I'm going to say no, because I listened to Mike Barra talk the other night, and they showing the video of the drones. They don't just move in all kinds of random directions. They always move in a very straight line specifically. But it is weird because there's so much coming out on this stuff and there's not very many answers. You shared me this tweet earlier, and I know there's another one from Paul Joseph Watson, because they were mentioning this Iranian mothership, because some are speculating that maybe these drones are being run by Iran or China, something off the coast. But there've been like a menace in New Jersey now for like, I don't know, a month or so. It's been going on longer than we think, and nobody's getting any answers on that. Here it was. As Congressman reveals, I don't know who this is. It's not Pasovic. But it says, reveals a credible source. They're coming from China and Iran, launched from the eastern seaboard. Activist Post ran one, the East Coast being buzzed by very sophisticated giant drones every night that go dark when they're approached by U.S. aircraft. So, yeah, they're buzzing rooftops, flying freely through the skies of New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, the whole tri-state area. And our government is powerless to stop it. So I guess they've been spotted over military facilities, water reservoirs, transportation hubs, police departments, and other sensitive installations. And they're the size of cars. I don't know. I mean, that is beyond strange. And it seems to be the biggest topic going on that I've been seeing.
But even though it is the biggest topic, we're here to report that we don't really know. So, I mean, like how much time can we report to all of the videos? Go on X and take a look at American_media_. I shared about 40 of them earlier. Dina is saying the latest I heard about UFOs is that they're owned and operated by a company in New Jersey. Only what I heard on a news station. Can't remember which one. And yeah, it seems likely that between this hour and this hour, they're all getting up there. It's probably United States. And it's probably under contract from some company, and they're doing like some testing. Who knows? I mean, I guess we don't know, but like we will stay on top of it and share more videos on X. Blake is at TV's Blake Walley. The New American Media is at American_media_. So I don't know. Blake, we got to run here. Any final thoughts on this drone story? I mean, we got an Iranian mothership. These are extraterrestrials coming to ruin us, to save us. What say you?
I don't know. How should I answer this? Here's Ben Davidson has put this question out. What do we think? The New Jersey drones say they're searching for nukes. They're aliens, China, or Iran. I don't know. I think it's got to be something to do with our government. They must know something they're just not sharing with the public. And there's some ulterior motive here at play. So I will agree with Mike Barra that they're not UFOs until we can get more information, just because of the way that they move. Although they are sophisticated, I'm going to have to say, I'll just say searching for nukes, even though I don't know if they're searching for nukes, but I think they're US. And okay, that's 50% of the people. That's 4,780 people have chimed in, and half of them think that they're US, they're searching for nukes or something, and 25% think they're aliens. Only 6% think they're Iran. That would be a little bizarre, unless they were trying to show off. Now, we did have those Chinese balloons. Maybe this is something like that. You know, Russia just flexed by showing that they have sophisticated weaponry that can't be stopped by the West. And this could be another display, perhaps Chinese or somebody. Maybe not the Chinese, because now isn't Xi Jinping the president of China? He's going to go to the inauguration, I believe, for Trump. So I think they're kind of buddies in some regard. So I don't know if they would do something like this just to kind of flex their muscles and show us what they can do, and that there's nothing we can do to stop it. So I don't know, Brian, we got to leave, but what do you think?
Yeah, they were saying that Iran is trying to kill President Trump. You've been hearing that for months, right? Now you're hearing these are
the balls to go across the Atlantic Ocean and set up some sophisticated drones that they're going to fly around like New Jersey and such. Not the White House, but just, New Jersey, and just to try to like terrorize the public and think they're going to get away with it. That would be a very bold move. I don't know.
We're going to find out. I hope, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Like Trump said, I don't trust anyone. And Dina's saying, if they are ETs, they'd have to be demons from another dimension. Yeah, I mean, there are questions about that as well. So,
but certainly a fascinating story. I just think we're being lied to again, but that's fine. There's some reason why they are.
I want protective drones in the sky for us.
Sure.
But it just kind of makes you wonder, like, how secure are our skies? I don't know that we really have the infrastructure and the, warfare as we know it with drones. It's just, it's so different. And from satellites raining stuff down. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on it. I couldn't possibly give you anything definitive today. Neither could Blake, but we're just here to tell you, go on the X feed and check out all these videos of different UFOs and a couple of jokes. A lot of jokes. People love cracking jokes. So not everything you click on is going to be legit. Know that. And yes, Dina, we are always lied to. That's why we started the New American Media 13 years ago. And it's why we appreciate having you here today. I have blocked that violent guy from the thread, so he won't be participating anymore. You can do that from here in the chat room, which is fantastic. Goodbye, dude. We allow conversation here. We don't allow threats. Deuces. Smug look on your face. We didn't assert a single thing. We're asking the questions and having conversations about looking into it and studying things more. If that terrifies you, there's something off with you, because whatever you believe in should be verified by further investigation, not exposed by it, such as kind of how we exposed you for having all the classic tendencies of Russian disinformation. Being a CIA bot. Being an FBI informant, just kind of prowling through YouTube to mess with flagged accounts so you could get us banned and report our material, and this will get taken down and you're going to feel like a big man today. You might even be a lady. I don't know what you identify as, but we have conversations here, not with people like you, because we don't engage with violent people. You can piss off. So we're going to take off for now. Blake, any final words, sir?
No, it's been fun. We'll look forward to next Tuesday.
Absolutely. Sounds
your football show. Skull Vikings.
Skull Vikings. All right. We will be back. Drones on the range. Give me 5 minutes and we're going to launch the Strictly Football Show with myself and Mike Barra. Follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley and The Next Level News. Follow the Agree to Disagree Show and the New American Media in all of the places. I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
And never let anybody